Hello, Internet! Gino, aka That Pinguino, here again with another baby deep look, and this time I'm going to be taking a look at Final Fantasy IX for the PlayStation 1. And the reason why I'm looking at this game today is a little bit of speedrun prep for a speedrun I'm going to be doing of Final Fantasy IX for the Giantbomb Community Endurance Run. I'm going to be helping raise some money for charity. The charity is Pencils of Promise, and what they do is they raise money to build schools, train teachers, and put kids through school in developing nations. So, hope you'll check that out. There's a thread on Giantbomb.com for the Giantbomb Community Endurance Run. You should check it out. It is kicking off on April 10th and running through April 12th. So, mark that on your calendar. You got more than a month. It's going to be great. So, the reason why I'm filming this particular video is to show off how to beat the first battle in Final Fantasy IX. So, unlike Final Fantasy VIII, which is a game I speed ran for last year's Giantbomb Community Endurance Run, Final Fantasy IX does not have one mechanic that once you break it, the combat system and all the battles become trivial. In Final Fantasy VIII, once you figure out your optimal junction and get everything set up and get all your items just right, you pretty much run through all the rest of the battles in the game. You can turn off random encounters and just boss fights become trivial. And other than a couple of lucky drops and stuff, there's not really much you have to worry about in Final Fantasy VIII once you break the junction system. In FF9, there's no such single mechanic that you need to take advantage of. In FF9, it's more a matter of prepping for every specific battle as best you can, and using those tiny incremental advantages by having your equipment just right and your passive abilities just right to stay ahead of bosses that you should have many more levels before you fight. So it's mostly a matter of using abilities and equipment to mitigate the fact that you are avoiding fights, rather than having one special secret strategy that just, once you perform this special secret initiation, the game is just simple and you can run straight through it. So every single battle in Final Fantasy IX, you need to do some manner of prep work, especially for the later discs and the later bosses. So even the very first battle has a pretty unique strategy if you want to speedrun it. One thing I'm going to do very early on is set the menu speed, the field speed, and the battle speed all the way up, because the speed of battles in Final Fantasy IX is much slower than in FF8 and FF7, most other Final Fantasy games with an active time battle system. So even when you set the battle speed as high as possible, it's still slow compared to those games. So you really want to do this as soon as possible. You're losing time every fight you don't have the speed set all the way up. It's pretty obvious, but it's way more than even in FF8. So gonna go ahead, go straight into the menus and make that change. And battle speed all the way up. Field message, that's going to be how fast your text scrolls. Turn that all the way up. And I'm going to set the window color to classic because I like blue. Okay, now that that's all done, just light the candle in the middle of the room. On the back left of this room, there's Gil, but it's not very much. And on the back right, there's a potion. You can get that. Potions are kind of useful early on, but I don't know if it's worth the couple of seconds to run over there. I don't think so. I don't think I'm going to get hurt that much. And so now I get into the first battle with the Masked Man. So, against all bosses in this game, even if you're not speedrunning Final Fantasy IX, something you should know, since Zidane, the main character, is a thief, almost every boss in the game has an item that, if Zidane is in the fight, if he's forced to be in the fight, they will almost always have something that, if you steal it, it puts you well ahead of the normal curve of the game. So the Masked Man here has a Mage Masher, which is Zidane's ordinarily the second weapon he would get. You can actually steal it from your very first encounter. Ordinarily, you wouldn't see it until the Ice Cavern, which is actually a couple hours later into the game. But since I know he's got it, I'm going to use my party of 4 thieves to try and steal it. Unfortunately, the rate of steal success of the Mage Masher is pretty low, so it could take a few rounds of stealing to try and get it. So this stealing from bosses applies to pretty much every boss where Zidane's in the fight. you'll usually get a piece of armor or a weapon that you won't see until several towns later. Or at least 1 or 2 towns later. At least if you want to purchase it. So, like I said, it takes a little while to steal, unfortunately. Just gotta keep trying to take stuff. Luckily, there are not too many battles in the speedrun path that I'm using where I have to steal something important. But this is one of them. Because life totals are not super inflated in Final Fantasy IX, every little bit of damage will save you turns and save you some headache. Okay, got the Mage Masher. So now I have to use this other little bit of strategy. You want to kill your own party. Because in this fight, there are 2 end conditions. Winning the battle by beating Baku, or your party getting wiped out. And wiping out your own party, way faster than beating Baku. So, that is how you win the first battle in Final Fantasy IX as quickly as possible. I hope you enjoyed this information. You should check out the Giantbomb Community Endurance Run, like I said before. And I'm going to keep churning these out as I get ready for the Final Fantasy speedrun. So, hope you enjoyed it. Like and subscribe if you liked it. Otherwise, peace.